The Shop, A Tale of Frightful Incompetence. Written by W.P. Thrift. Read by Lantis Armstrong on Twitter. Chapter 9. In the Pines. Dash kicked Radix in the ribs while throwing an empty grease pan at Bowman, then turned to Lantis, ready to kick him as well, but froze. In the moment she hesitated, he awoke on his own due to Radix's yelling. Bowman continued to snore, unperturbed by being struck by a large metal pan. "What the hell? Hello? Hello, I mean? Morning, Dash?" Radix began to recall where he was, sliding back, away from her. "Y'all have some gall to show your faces here again," Dash said sternly. "Look, I know you're upset about the car, but we really needed it and just couldn't pay for it yet," Radix tried to explain. "But we can pay for it. At some point. Not right now. Though, we don't have the cash yet. But soon, I swear." "Cash? Car? I need to smoke." Lantis groaned, confused. He was not much of a morning person. When his eyes came into focus and he realized Dash was there, he quickly tried to run a hand through his hair to straighten it. It was a laughably pathetic effort. "Just get out of here." Dash pointed them towards the door. "There was a monster," Lantis wanted to explain. "We had nowhere to go." Dash cringed at that. Somehow, Lantis always sounded so sad to her. Or maybe they all sounded that pathetic, but she was only empathizing with him. Hard for her to be sure, really. Radix and Lantis left, and a moment later Dash pushed the still-sleeping Bowman out on a cart and dumped him on the sidewalk in front of the garage before going back in and closing the door. Lantis lit a cig, and the smell immediately prompted Bowman to wake up. The trio headed back to the shop, which was mercifully mar-free by the time they arrived. The corpse of Tallboy laid maimed in the corner. They used the newspapers they had been sleeping on to cover up the body. They'd probably need to haul that off somewhere, or at least drop it in the dumpsters around back. But they were tired, sore, and hungry, so such efforts had to be put off until later. The corpse lying in the corner was bound to be reeking by now, but there were so many other smells in the shop by this point that it would be hard to notice. After Radix got another refill on his soda and splashed his face off in the sandwich shop bathroom, he returned to the shop to find that his old problem of having nothing to do yet remained. He sat at his chair, leaned back against the wall with his feet on the table, and stared across it to Bowman, who was off in cyberspace via his high-tech goggles. Lantis was just staring blankly at the claw marks on the desk, before getting up and fetching tape from Radix's duffel bag to cover them back up with again. That killed all of 3 minutes for him. "I'm hungry," Lantis said. "I know. We all are," Radix replied. The hours drug on, uneventfully. They had locked the door, but still had the sign turned to open, just in case a customer came by. They could let them in once they were sure it wasn't another monster. Nobody came by, but some small degree of optimism was better than abandoning all hope. Speaking of abandoning all hope, "Say," Radix said, "that thing that got after us last night, it's not still around here, is it?" "She's always around," Lantis replied, "even if you don't see her. She's close. Too close. If I take a step back too quickly in a dark room, I may run right into her." "Okay. Creepy imagery notwithstanding, how literally close by is she?" Radix asked. "I hate school!" Lantis yelled out loud, and their shop shook. For a moment, the sunlight beaming down on it was blotted out. But just as quickly, the darkness lifted again, like a mist being blown swiftly away. "She's that close." Radix grimaced. "Okay, gotcha. So I was thinking, If that's the case, then maybe we should do something about this. Oh, you have fun with that, Lantis replied, his capacity for sarcasm having increased so much from the short span of time he had spent online. No, I'm serious. I don't want you getting us all killed here, Radix said flatly. Sure, the option had occurred to him that he could just kick Lantis out, but that option just didn't feel right to him, so he didn't bring it up. I mean, I don't know. Lantis had no idea what to say or do about this. Well, what do you know about her? Radix asked. As much as you do, Lantis replied. Then that's not helpful. Radix sighed. Bowman, use your doobly-doo samaflange thing and look up information about Mar. Bowman didn't like having to do work, but at least no one was asking him to get up this time, so he figured he'd comply. He sat there, soda in one hand and cigarette in the other, and used his thought-controlled goggles to scan through millions of databases across the globe. Of course, all he had done was enter Mar into a search engine, but that still counts as searching for information across the globe. When nothing useful came up, he tried Lady of Terror. Still nothing that looked like it was referring to her.
Oh, very interesting. There's nothing about her in the cloud.
Bowman crossed his arms like he felt a stomachache coming on.
I'm checking the backup on servers across the globe. There's blank spots. Areas I know she should be. I can infer her existence through the missing data. Reverse engineering, nipple pinchy. A timeline through...
What cloud? Lantis interrupted. Him questioning something from so early on, letting Bowman know that he had totally not been listening to the rest of what he was saying.
Ah, well, it's not known to you common folk yet.
Bowman acted all high and mighty.
It's a secret only to us techies. There's a super-secret cloud of electronic information spanning the globe, and only I and a few others can access it. It contains every last bit of information that's ever been sent anywhere electronically. A backup recording of it all. Oh, nothing should be removable from it. Yet all the data about Mar has been.
She does seem to walk between worlds, Radix considered. Can she just, I don't know, step over into some kind of electronic dimension and break everything with her name on it? Bowman frowned.
Don't go thinking this is anything that's that simple. But I guess if I was to super dumb it down for you, then yes, that must be what happened.
So, think she's done that everywhere? Radix asked. I mean, any chance we could just go to the local library and find stuff on her?
Tampering with the cloud and manually visiting every library on Earth to destroy physical copies of books and articles are very different things,
Bowman said.
But she does seem to be localized around Cattailville. Oh, so our local library was surely attacked by her by now. Oh, don't you think?
Look, Radix said. Libraries offer books for free. That happens to be precisely within our price range. Even if there's nothing there, I could still find something to read to occupy my time here. I even already have a library card with the Silver Pines Library here in Cattailville. Got it when I was like 10, but it should still be valid. Radix pulled out his wallet and dug through it right quick, just to confirm that the library card was still in there.
Well, I don't like the part where I have to get up and do stuff,
Bowman voiced his objection. Well, I'm bored shitless, so there's only upsides to doing this for me, Radix replied.
You and yours.
You're up for an adventure to the library, right, Lantis? But what if we get a customer while we're gone? Lantis asked. Radix and Bowman just about died laughing. Bowman choked on the cigarette he'd been smoking and had to go ahead and toss it into the ash can, though it was only half finished, because he knew that he wouldn't catch his breath before it burned all the way out. Radix attempted to calm down, but that just caused him to snort from laughter. Oh my God! Radix was panting now. Oh, that was a good one! I had no idea you were such a comedian, Lantis! And with that, the trio locked up the shop and left it to head across town to the Silver Pines Library. The library was much smaller than Radix remembered. There was a plaque inside the door which talked about the great book burning of '85, and how what remained in this library is only what was recovered from that, plus donated books that have come in since then. Radix, of course, last visited well after the recovery period. His memory of this place must just be hazy. He was expecting the librarian to be the same bitter old crone he had dealt with the last time he was here, but she was gone. In her place was a pretty young girl in glasses, which immediately made his heart swoon. Oh my God, guys! A nice, shy, nerdy librarian! Radix was beside himself with giddiness. She's everything I ever wanted in a girlfriend! While this was abrupt, his pals weren't going to try and stop him if he wanted to risk making a fool out of himself. Bowman found the nice bench to sit on and rest his aching feet, and Lantis once again found himself scared of the air conditioning inside of a building. Radix began to walk over, but halted. He hadn't bathed in like 2 weeks, so that could be a problem. Just keep my distance, and don't approach her downwind from the AC, Radix decided. Hello, miss, Radix said to the librarian. She was roughly his age, with long black hair that had a streak of purple in it. Her glasses were too big for her face, though it was hard to tell this for sure because she was facing straight down. Welcome to the Silver Pines Library, she said. The filing system should direct you to whatever you're looking for. I was actually wondering if you could help me look. Radix had to lean down slightly to read her name tag. Amy? No, I can't, Amy replied. She was still staring straight down, which Radix had assumed was because she was reading something, but now realized she wasn't staring at anything in particular. She just didn't want to make eye contact. She clutched one book tight against her chest and with her other hand was twirling a pencil, occasionally tapping it against the desk nervously. I mean, isn't it your job to... Radix began to say, then changed his mind. Nah, never mind. I'm sure I can find it if it's here. Radix fetched Lantis before he could run out the door. Why is it so cold in here? Lantis demanded, too loud for the library. Not that that mattered, though. It was only the 3 of them, plus the librarian in here. Then again, there may have been someone upstairs. Despite its small size, the library was still 2 floors, though the second floor was more of a half floor, a crescent handrail lining it. They could see just about everything up there from down here. Bowman refused to move from the bench, so Radix and Lantis were on their own. Radix was a little annoyed that nobody asked him how things went with the librarian. Even if nothing had happened, he still wanted to talk about it. But since no one brought it up, he decided to just let it drop. He was such a quitter in multiple regards. The filing system proved to be complete crap. Just letters and hyphens and numbers. Nothing Radix could make any sense of. So I gotta ask, can you read? Radix asked Lantis. Yeah, Lantis replied. Mr. Roosty was a smart rooster. He taught me all kinds of things. Cool, Radix said. Then you go upstairs and I'll search downstairs. We need some kind of book of local beast lore, or anything else that sounds like Mar might be filed away in it. Radix checked through the non-fiction section, while Lantis, not knowing any better, was scanning through everything until he became distracted by a book about a bear trying to get some honey. He felt compelled by the story, and so lit up a cig while kicking back against a handrail to enjoy it. Amy saw this and went to raise her voice to tell him he can't smoke inside, but felt herself flush with embarrassment at the thought of raising her voice above a single octave above a whisper. She went upstairs to quietly yell at him to put it out, though her going up there to talk to Lantis did not escape Radix's notice. He pouted. Why do all the girls seem to like him so much? Radix was just puzzled. Of course, Amy far from liked him. He not only reeked of cigarette smoke, amongst so many other unidentifiable odors, but he was barefoot and caked with dirt all over. She couldn't imagine how anyone could live in such a condition. Lantis stomped out his cig, as par instructions, though this burned his foot. Amy winced, but only because she meant for him to stomp it out outside. This was going to be a terrible stain on the floor that she'd have to clean up later, and this was also precisely why she didn't like dealing with people. Books were always so much better company. If a book was filthy, it was always her fault, not the book's. That was something she could control, unlike this guy. "Please, behave yourself," Amy said, still looking straight down, both arms crossed over a book on her chest. "I don't want to have to ask you to leave." She quickly rushed back downstairs, nearly hyperventilating until she was safely back behind the counter. Having some kind of barrier between herself and the rest of the world let her relax a bit. Given the kinds of people that tend to live in Cattailville, this library was usually completely empty besides her. That's why she took this job in the first place. She didn't want to deal with people. Her parents had always wanted her to be a veterinarian, but while she didn't particularly dislike animals, she'd always have to deal with their owners, and that was just too much human contact for her liking. "Find anything interesting?" Radix asked as Lantis came back downstairs, trying not to let his annoyance shine through his words. "You're never going to believe how this bear was able to find honey!" Lantis looked so delighted. Radix was just about to declare this trip a waste of time. They didn't even have a single history book here. This town just wanted to forget about its past, apparently. That was a big part of what the book burning of 85 was all about. But did they really have to go and burn all the books on world history too? Those were his favorite reads. He could have killed so many hours with them. Bowman suddenly hurried over to them.
"Guys, I'm crop dusting, so we better keep moving,"
he warned. Before heading out, Radix noticed a door between two shelves of books that he had walked right past before. It was the same color and texture as the wall, so it was understandably overlooked. Radix yelled over to Amy, "Hey, are there more books back there, or is that just a storage closet?" "Oh my God, Bowman, that is nasty!"
"Well, I told ya,"
Bowman said, then cracked up laughing at Radix's disgusted expression. Amy only shifted back and forth uncomfortably, so Radix decided to just go and see for himself. It was a circular room, full of more books. Most of them weren't on shelves. They were stacked up on top of boxes, possibly donations to the library that had yet to make it out into the main rooms. There were some on shelves, but they were scorched. "Oh, that's right," Radix thought. "This library used to be way bigger. The plaque at the front even said so. A lot of it was closed off to the public due to excessive fire damage. That, of course, the city wouldn't pay to repair." Radix looked through everything, while Lantis and Bowman left the library to go outside and smoke. Radix let himself get excited when he found a genuine monster catalog. Classifications, A to E, F to L, and that's it. He did check under L, for Lady of Terror, but no luck. He glanced up to see someone standing in the doorway. It was Amy, holding the same book. A book Radix only now realized was titled Monster Catalog, M2P. "Sorry, but you're not allowed back here," Amy said. "Hey, that's the book I was looking for," Radix said, pointing at it. "Could I hold it? I don't even need to check it out. I just need to look something up. Mar, have you heard of her? Is she listed in there?" "Mar?" Amy asked. "You're going to die. You and all of your friends are going to die." Amy left the room without another word, and Radix just thought, phooey. Radix left the library empty-handed, and the trio began the trek back towards the shop. That concludes Chapter 9 of The Shop. Tune in every Tuesday for new chapters. If you'd like to reach me, you can do so at Lantis Armstrong on Twitter. That's LANTISARMSTRONG. And if you'd like to reach the author, you can send me your message, and I assure you he'll receive it, because we're the same person. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you'll join us again for next week's chapter, The Biggest Size You've Got.